you again, ballistic YouTubers, gun people, gun enthusiasts, military men, the people that they're discounting and saying you have no right to get clicks. No, please get clicks. Explain to us what it is that you know in this decentralized intelligent agency, given the information that I am telling you, okay, that unless we have a bullet that's doing the worm like a WWE wrestler, okay, bullets fire straight.
Something else I noticed about Candace.
Went straight into the...
I know something else about Candace. When Candace gets chastised by her ops, when Candace gets her hand slapped by somebody that she has issue with, she will address them, but really with the least amount of vigor whatsoever. Nobody is asking about the trajectory of the bullet today. We want to know how hard did that hammer hit? We want to know what that hammer do. And I'm realizing I'm scrubbing through here. She still is not going to talk about that for some time. She's going to go on for almost 8 more minutes talking about that before where I think she starts talking about Josh Hammer. So her show is only going to be 45 minutes to an hour. So she's going to spend the lion's share of her show talking about this bullet. And I got this bad feeling she's not going to address the Josh Hammer comment. And I want to talk a little bit more about that as well. Because I thought about it. I noticed whenever she gets chastised, she never addresses the meat of the topic. Remember when BB dropped that letter, what did they talk about? The date. They talked about the redaction at the bottom. They didn't talk about what was actually in the doggone almost 4-page letter. Nothing. When the text messages were brought out, what is she? When these text messages come out right here, she's going to talk about something that's ancillary again. And let me know if I'm wrong. But I feel like there was another point as well that she made. Let me get finished with this because I want to talk about these supers, but I want to get to the commercial.
Left lower side of his neck essentially exploded his artery and did not exit out of the back, but that is where a bullet fragment was found. So map it out for us. There's something else that I would like to point to that is getting interesting, and that is regarding Caldera Engineering.
So again, this is the company that makes the valves. So she's about to put a whole company. They've been doxxed on Yelp and Google because of her. So she's going to double down. Who was asking questions about Ninja Turtles? Who was asking about valves and manhole covers? Nobody was doing that. She's the only one doing that. I really hope they're able to sue her.
Now, I said from the very beginning that this company was shady. It flagged me as weird. All I was trying to do at that point was not looking to Caldera Engineering, but rather to track down the footage. Irwin Steel, this steel, so many steels were involved. It turns out the steels are big with Caldera Engineering. And things aren't adding up with this company, okay? It's just not adding up with this company. And I can tell you, I was receiving information from people who work with valves, who have been in the industry for 30 years, that live nearby, and said, I have never heard of Caldera Engineering. That's not normal. I've never heard of them. I've never worked with them. I've never received any of their valves. Something's not right here, right? I knew something wasn't right, but you can't just always go off of just, we know something's not right. We have to figure out what exactly it is that is incorrect here. Then I also decided to prod the narrative further. Another person gave us a tip and said, hey, did you know that there's literally someone who works at Caldera Engineering who is a professional actor? Like no background in engineering, went to school for theater, worked in theater, was in plays, was involved in plays. I looked through everything, went through it. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why is he suddenly at Caldera Engineering? Like not later in life, just like randomly on his resume is Caldera Engineering. Why are they hiring gay actors? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm telling you guys what are the things that I have stumbled upon. Then somebody,
but see, that's not,
and this was
that's not how you do it, Candace. You're literally putting a target on these people. Because I'm pretty sure the Candies have already figured out who the person is, and they're probably making that person's life a living hellscape. Man, this is embarrassing. I don't want to say this again, but I got to. I really hope these people are able to seek justice from her, because she's literally putting a target on these people's back over nothing. just because they hired somebody. Maybe it's a secretary. Maybe they hired him to be the mail person. Maybe they hired him because he's the CEO's extramarital lover. Who cares? What's that got to do with Charlie Kirk? What's that got to do with anything? This is ridiculous. And if you don't know that answer, don't give that information. She done put three entities out there today already. And she doesn't have any problem with it. That's the part that's like, wait, really? You have no shame in saying something about a company that you know nothing about. And notice she still hasn't talked about Josh Hammer.
Range. We have not been able to corroborate this. We can tell you the link was real and that but we don't know if the internet was scraping and got things incorrect. But if there was an Israeli individual who was listed as the founder of Caldera Engineering. We obviously know that Caldera Engineering had said that they did projects according to their website in Israel. I don't know what projects they worked on. We weren't able to corroborate currently that individual is still working with the company. We don't know if this was accidental. Sometimes the internet can do some funny things and scrape and put information where it doesn't belong. This particular individual has a very long background in engineering in Israel. Maybe it's because they work together. And
out of this side of her mouth, she's saying what she's saying. And out of the other side of her mouth, she's going to say, I'm not implicating Israel in this at all.
The internet thought that this person was the founder and the individual was not. But it's piquing our interest now. We are confused, I would say, at best, about this company because when we wanted to go back and just determine who the founders were, just our bad luck. A company was established in 1997, so you won't be able to get those formation LLC docs. You can find LLC docs in general, but they didn't start digitizing those until the early 2000s, so you're not going to get anything where you're going to be able to see the actual formation docs. You can see changes they made in the early 2000s.
So because the company started in 1997, so roughly 28 years ago, what's that got to do with Charlie Kirk dying 4 weeks ago? This is embarrassing. And I do think it's interesting. Again, notice the language change. When she needs the Candies to buy in to what she's talking about, she uses inclusive language like we, ours, and us. But when she's going in, it's my, I, and me. I just think that's very interesting. All right, this is embarrassing.
You can see who the manager or the president, all of that stuff we found. But I would love to find those base formation docs. And in order to get them, you have to go in person somewhere. And I am certain I'm not going to be able to get my hands on that. Something else that was really interesting as I was looking into Caldera Engineering was that they opted to, in their very early years of their company, use a lawyer for trademark purposes down in Arizona, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm looking at these early documents and I'm like, wait a second. I know this lawyer. This lawyer was introduced to me by Tyler Boyer at Turning Point USA. I've worked with this lawyer. I've paid this lawyer. This is crazy. So what is the pipeline between Utah and Phoenix? I don't know. You can use a lawyer anywhere, but when you're formulating your company, maybe it was a friend. I don't know. But I now have a ton of questions about Caldera Engineering. So if you have any information, or you're able to find anything about them, or maybe you are an engineer and you're like, I've been buying their valves actually for 20 years, and they're fantastic. They work great. I'd like to hear from you. Again, more tips at CandaceOwens.com. All right, you guys, I'm going to...
All right, real quick. Y'all, man, I really hope that these people are able to get some form of retribution because my goodness in the morning, this is so reckless. This is not journalism. And we're going to talk to Joe Pags and ensure that we're not wrong. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.